Last time here at Unlimited Bits Gaming, we took a look at the GameCube together, hardware-wise, and if you ever played a GameCube or you know about your gaming history, I didn't say anything that you didn't already know about the system. It's simple stuff because the appeal of a console is always to be able to get home, take it out of its box, connect the wires to it, hook it up to your TV, and you're good to go and you can play whatever games it is that you bought for your system. But it got me to thinking, what good is any video game console that you buy without the console's controller? Nintendo's GameCube Controller is quite possibly one of the greatest controllers ever designed for a video game system because it's still supported even today. If you have a Wii U or you have a Switch, you can still actually use the GameCube controller with your Wii U and your Switch to play some games. Although there are games, of course, that have newer features like the HD Rumble that you can't obviously use with a Nintendo GameCube. But the GameCube just had everything that you needed to play a good game from this generation of consoles. As everybody knows, it has the Nintendo GameCube logo right here. It has L and R buttons. It has a Z button right here. And the L and R buttons are very unique. They have a very loud, clicky sound to them, which I don't think any other controller that I've ever played on any other system has. And it has a Z button. It's very unique because these two buttons, the trigger buttons, are way bigger and way clickier than what you'd find on any other controller. And you have the Z button, which is very unique in its design because it's so thin and long compared to these two. And then you go to the bottom right here on the face of the controller, you have your Y, your X, your A, and your B buttons. And this is a very unique shape for controller buttons as well, because how many controllers do you know for other systems out there? They have a big main button and then a smaller button on the side, and then above the big main button there are two other buttons that look like beans, that are shaped like beans. I mean, you just don't see that in any other controllers. The Nintendo 64 controller was also very unique, and Nintendo certainly carried on their tradition for unique design in their controllers with this one. Under those buttons you have the C stick, which is very useful, of course, because when this generation of consoles arrived, games that they used two sticks so you could explore your 3D worlds and levels, you know, it became a standard feature in this console generation for sure. And that's when we got a lot of big games like the Tomb Raider games that followed, the God of War games, the Devil May Cry games, and the like. You have your start and pause button, so no select button here, and that's something that I actually noticed about these controllers. Earlier this year, I never, even growing up with the GameCube, I never noticed that it never occurred to me that the controller doesn't have a select button anywhere. It's just the start button or pause button, and that's it. It has a stick right here and the D-pad. A lot of people don't like the D-pad of the GameCube controller, and I guess I understand why, because it's pretty small compared to most controllers that you find on modern systems and even past systems. The NES gamepad has a bigger D-pad than this, but I feel like it gets the job done. And I use this. I love to use it for when I play Sonic Mega Collection or Sonic Gems Collection, because it works very well for 2D platformers and beat 'em ups and the likes. Also, although the stick works perfectly fine for that as well. And the sticks on the GameCube controller, I mentioned earlier that the build quality of these controllers is excellent. You buy one of these, they're guaranteed to last you a very, very long time, unless you have pets or something and you let them, you know, gnaw on the sticks and the buttons and throw them around and such, or you step on them and drop them repeatedly. I mean, but other than that, these controllers have excellent build quality, and really, you can't go wrong. They're very ergonomic. They fit right into the palms of your hands. And I mean, really, when it comes to a modern controller design, you can't ask for much better than the GameCube controller. It works very well even to this day, and this controller in particular, this purple one, happens to be my favorite controller that I own as of the recording of this video. Here I have two others, and this one's exactly the same, but it's silver, obviously. I don't have any orange ones or any others in any other colors, except I think black. I have a black one stored away. And as you can see, this one, it's a bit dirty, and the rubber right here on the stick, I got it like this, so it was used, and as was this one, but this one is in much better condition than this one is. And but it works perfectly fine, and again, the build quality is just so great that you don't really have anything to worry or complain about. If you take care of your controllers, these GameCube controllers are gonna last you a long time. If you want another controller that's not a first-party controller, those are hard to come by wherever you live, you go online and you search for this one, the Super Pad by what does that say? Internet, I don't know. No, it's not internet, but if you come across a controller, a Super Pad like this one, you know the build quality isn't as good as the one on Nintendo's actual branded controllers, which you know, is just stating the obvious, because how are you gonna match that quality? But these work really well as well, and as you can see, they are bigger. This one is bigger than the actual Nintendo brand controllers, but they work pretty well as well. The analog sticks aren't as precise as the ones on Nintendo's controllers, and the D-pad, as you can see, is more like a disc. It's different, but I feel like it works very well. It's also not as precise or as responsive as the one on the Nintendo's controllers, but it gets the job done. As you can see, you have the start button right here, and you have your rumble feature, which the standard Nintendo controller does not have. But other than that, you have pretty much the same thing with minor differences, like the B button right here, which is also shaped like a bean, like the Y and the X buttons, which is not the case on the standard GameCube controller. And on the back, on the top here, you have the Z button, which looks and feels a bit cheaper than on Nintendo's controller, and you have your trigger buttons on the back. And overall, if you have bigger hands, this controller might be more to your liking, although the build quality isn't as good. But if you are on the hunt for another GameCube controller and the Nintendo's branded controllers are harder to come by, or they're expensive and you don't want to shell out that cash, if you search this up, the Super Pad for the GameCube, then you might be surprised that at how well it gets the job done as well. And that's the GameCube controller. If you already used a GameCube controller before, then this video didn't teach you anything you didn't already know, because I mean, really, it's a controller. It's not stuff that's terribly exciting, but it's just fun to talk about the GameCube and its accessories. And the GameCube controller really is one of the best controllers ever designed for a system. Nintendo systems today still use it. The Wii U and the Switch both have support for this controller, so you might not be able to use all of the newer features that the new systems have with this controller, so you need the newer controllers to play those games, but there's still a lot of games that you can play with the GameCube controller today, including, of course, on the Wii and the GameCube itself. But what do you think of this controller? Do you still use it? Let me know with a comment below, and subscribe if you enjoy Unlimited Bits Gaming. But until then, I hope to see you here for a podcast episode or one of the future videos here on the channel. So thanks for watching.